Welcome to Amy's Table. Today I'm talking with Kelly Snyder, Market Engagement Director for the Cincinnati Business Courier. Kelly shares how a breast cancer diagnosis revealed the power of preparation, community, and the relationships and mindset we build long before we need them. If you've ever wondered whether the way you live today prepares you for whatever tomorrow may bring, this conversation is for you. This is Amy's Table. Pull up a seat. So Kelly, for the random people that might not know you, tell us a little bit about your work at the Business Courier and what you love the very most.
Sure. So I have been at the Business Courier 30 years. I started as an account executive, and for the last 9 years have been coaching and mentoring the sales team, working on a lot of our events, particularly the women's events. And I know you know Women Who Mean Business and Mentoring Monday, and it's just so, yes, it's work, but I love what I do.
So then something changed in all of this lovely life, and you received a breast cancer diagnosis.
Yes. So in March, I had some irregularities and went in for a biopsy and diagnostic mammogram, and received the news that that I have breast cancer.
What a moment, huh? Interestingly, you and I have talked about this, and you responded differently. Actually, you responded like Kelly is what you did. You kind of sprung right into action. Tell us a little bit about this. I mean, I think most women, understandably so, are shocked, paralyzed, need a minute, all of that. Talk about how you responded to this.
Sure. So you and I share an Enneagram type 7,
Yep.
and I am always looking forward and what's next and hopeful, optimistic. The other side of that is sometimes not fully dealing with an emotion, but just powering through it after reframing it. And I have to say, I feel like it served me well in this particular case. You know, Denny Tato, sometimes she gets on me about not facing some of those emotions head on, but really I had a friend who had been through it. I knew she really liked her care team. So when I got the diagnosis, I mean, I was still at Pink Ribbon Pro Scan, and Dr. Mason said, "Here's what I think it is," and he's the radiologist, and I was like, "Okay, what would you do?" And I got in the car. I didn't even start my car. I called a good friend of mine. I'm like, "Remind me, you know, who was your oncologist, who was, you know, your surgeon," and I called for appointments for both of those, and it's
While still in the parking lot.
Yes.
I mean, Kelly.
I know.
What a warrior.
I know. But you know, it's when you say it like that, it sounds like heroic, but really I just was like, all right, I'm not going to get upset about this. I know I'm going to be fine because everything's always fine. It's never not worked out. So I wanted to check all those boxes, and, you know, part of it, you know, my husband, my loved ones, I wanted to make sure that I could go home and say, all right, this is going on, but here's what we're doing about it. Here's the plan. And honestly, I mean, it saved me a couple of weeks because I was able to get those appointments, you know, earlier than I would have had I waited for the formal diagnosis,
right.
Which I know that you thought that story was funny when the young girl called me a few days later to give me my official diagnosis. You know, she called and she's like, "Well, I've got some news," and I'm like, "Okay." And I've already got my appointments here and here. Can you make sure that, you know, the imaging gets to Christ Hospital, et cetera? And she was like, "Wow, you are the most positive person I've talked to when calling and giving this diagnosis." So, yeah.
Well, when you and I were talking, I shared with you that I had an irregular mammogram and got a call back. And I have terrible family history with breast cancer. And so, rightly so, whenever that has happened, I'm pretty terrified. And it was just a fluke. Our coffee was scheduled unrelated to any of this. But your story, your approach, your determination, you're facing it, you're jumping over your 7 Enneagram type to actually deal with it right there. I can't tell you, well, I did tell you, what that did for me when I went back in for the follow-up mammogram and ultrasound, and thank goodness everything was fine.
Thank goodness.
But you really, you were in my head, you were right with me, and I mean, I'm not exaggerating when I tell you you made a big difference. And since then, even when I'm looking at my to-do lists unrelated with anything like breast cancer or health or anything, you're kind of sitting on my shoulder okay, Aim, just do it. Don't avoid it, do it. And that is key. And one of the themes of what I want to talk to you about today is how you do anything is how you do everything. And in your case, do you think you purposefully have created a life that can jump into action with support and connections, or did it just happen that way?
So I think it's a combination. I think part of it is it's just who I am. I always am going to jump into action. I'd rather be doing something than nothing. And I have the most amazing support system. I've got, several different friend groups who are they've become family for me. And it's, such a blessing to have, all of these people in my life. My boss, Jamie Smith,
Yeah.
Between Jamie and then my husband, both of them are doing fundraisers for one for the Cancer Society, and my husband works for Huntington, so he's riding in the Pelotonia in a couple weeks.
Oh,
and
that's so great.
And it's just amazing to see just the love that I've been surrounded with.
And that's part of the treatment, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
So I think that, you and I have both talked about it's hard for both of us to ask for help. I need help. That was maybe a gift from this. Do you think you'll be able to turn to others for more help and support once you're through this than before?
Maybe. I'm so
No
bad.
promises.
I'm so bad at it. And it's funny because, so many people have been just so generous with their time and dropping things off. And I feel like I still don't have an answer when somebody says, tell me what I can do.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, and my husband has learned, because I'm so stubborn. And, instead of, what do you need? It's, I'm carrying this laundry downstairs. I'm doing this, and I mean, I just can't say enough about how much he has stepped up, and we've been through a lot together, but this is the biggest, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think creating that support group, whether not out of fear you're going to get a diagnosis, but just in general, a support group, a tribe is so key. There might be some women listening today that don't have family near or have a very small friend group, and I'm not suggesting you know all the ins and outs yet, but what would you suggest to them? Because having your friends go with you to chemo and when you did the last to your hair and those kind of things, that was a big help. How can we help women who might not have that full?
And I think what I would say is that everybody has more than they probably think they do. And, everybody wants to be asked. I mean, and that's what I keep telling myself is, how often would I offer to help someone, and I genuinely mean it.
Yeah.
And so I think the support is there. It's a matter of looking for it. You brought up the hair. I've had the same person doing my hair for almost 30 years, and she was just as upset about me losing it as I was. And she came over, my oncologist told me literally 2 weeks after the first treatment, the hair will be gone, and it started falling out. And I had 2 close friends come over and stand there, and it was just, it was so, I don't want to say empowering, I feel like that's corny, but it felt good that I wasn't doing it by myself. So Becky cut my hair short, and I wore a headband in it for a day, And then it really started falling out even more, and so I mean it was gone within 48 hours.
You know, you told me a story, and it's a pretty personal story, and if you don't want to answer it, we'll cut it out.
Okay.
But you were out to dinner and wore that cute little headband, and you were all out on the sidewalk, and you said your hair started.
Oh my gosh! So we were at the Davidson, sitting on that undercover porch area. And it was sort of a breezy day. This was early May, and I was just chatting away and just so happy to be out and about. And I've got, rocking the short hairdo, and it was Jackie. Her eyes got really big, and she's like, "Your hair." And so it was like flying out of my head as we were sitting there celebrating my husband's birthday. And so I just switched places with somebody so that I was sort of away from
the wind.
The Walnut Street breeze. And and then by the next morning we shaved the rest off.
But I think the reason I wanted you to share that is for people to understand when women are going through breast cancer, and let me tell you, either you are, your friend is, your family is, your neighbor is, it's going to touch all of us if it hasn't already. They're dealing with things like their hair blowing out of their head as they're trying to have a dinner celebration. It's like there's a lot going on. And I'm sure sometimes that's really hard. You are so resilient and such a powerful warrior and such a great attitude. You're so optimistic. But how can women that might be facing this find that reserve? What advice can you offer? And I hate to make you suddenly be the spokesperson for, all women facing breast cancer,
Sure.
But you've learned a thing or two.
I have, and a lot of what I've learned has been through two people close to me who had been through it. We didn't talk about it as much when they were going through it. And just a quick text, hey, did this ever happen? Or, there's some crazy side effects. Like you picture, chemotherapy, because I have a total of 16 weeks of chemo, and Monday is my last one, which I'm so excited.
Yay!
So 16 weeks of chemo, 6 weeks of rest, surgery, 6 weeks of rest, radiation, 6 to 12 months before they do reconstruction. It's a long process,
right.
And I'm trying to focus only on what's about to happen and what's currently going on. I'm not worried about radiation yet because we're not there. And so but having people that I can call or text and say, and one of them, I had no idea she even went through it. And that's, we joke, I'm such an oversharer that I don't know how I would be anything other than vocal about what I'm going through, good or bad. And so I think what I would say is find the people who have been through it and talk to them. No two situations are different, but cancer treatment has come so far.
So far.
I cannot say enough. So my oncologist, Dr. Julie Specht at Christ Hospital, shout out Christ, they are just the best. So she has said the difference in how we treat cancer now versus before, like we used to take, I'm saying we because now I'm in the cancer community.
Right.
But we used to try to kill a housefly with a sledgehammer. And, so you think of people getting sick from chemo and everything else. And that's not even the worst part. And so, now they know so much about, the steroids and the anti-nausea and the antihistamines and, all the stuff that goes into it before the first drop of chemo even, hits your blood. So,
right. Chemo is not for the faint of heart.
It is not for the faint of heart.
You mentioned one of the treatments, they call it something else. You call it the Red Warrior.
Yes, that's the Red Devil,
Yeah.
the old AC. And it's terrifying. It's, no joke, but I'm on Taxol now, and that causes nerve damage in your hands and feet. So I wear ice blocks and getting acupuncture. So I'm doing all the medical things, but then I'm also doing all the medical adjacent things.
Which is great.
Supplements, acupuncture, I can't say enough about my care team.
So I referenced earlier, Kelly, that I think how you do anything is how you do everything. And you have faced this with determination and planning and rallying the troops and a positive outlook. And I love that so much. What things are you doing, like little rituals or habits, that keep your mind in the right place, that make you feel good and calm?
So I think the older I get, the more I realize that, as silly as it is, life is short. And about the time of my diagnosis, I read something that an older woman had written, and it was, imagine yourself in your 80-year-old body. What would you be excited to do today, and do those things and live in the moment?
Oh, that's good.
And I love that. And the little rituals that seem to, get me through. I mean, we talked about Pilates. I've got a little studio on Eastern Avenue, shout out a tune, that I feel at home there. They make me feel at home, and it, it makes me feel good. I just started yoga, which I always thought I was too uncoordinated to do yoga, but I started doing that. I've got my PEMF red light mat that I lie on a few times a day. The acupuncture, I am doing everything possible to feel better, look better, make this cancer go away. Yes.
Yeah, I love that. One of the things you did mention is on occasion you can feel a little bit invisible. And we talked about the fact that sometimes when you see someone who's clearly going through cancer or has something that they're facing, maybe we don't want to make them feel like we're staring, so we don't even look. But you experienced that, and you had a real reaction to that. Do you mind sharing?
No, not a bit. So, you and I have known each other a long time. I talk to everybody wherever I go, and this was a situation. This was pretty early on in after I had lost my hair, and after a workout class, I went to Whole Foods, and I'm just so used to smiling at a kid in a shopping cart or making eye contact. I like talking to people. And I will say that I was walking around feeling just yucky because I was not finding people were not making eye contact with me, and it hurt my feelings, and trying to just sit with that emotion and what is this? And when I got in the car, I think I told you this, I texted Denny and I was like, I feel invisible. People aren't looking at me, and I don't mean look at me, but
yes.
I like that human connection. And so I will share this. So this is this is me without the wig.
I'm sorry, but you're still so damn gorgeous. I can't even see straight.
You're awfully sweet. But this is how I was walking around the grocery store, and at the time, I just I felt so awful. And, of course, Denny's like, it's not you, it's them, but it's true. Think about, you tell your kids, don't stare at somebody in a wheelchair. Don't stare at somebody who looks different. And so I think they didn't want to make me uncomfortable, but really make me comfortable by talking to me.
Yeah, so smile at the person because they're the person.
Right.
And, to your point, you're much more apt to have gotten a smile wearing that glorious wig.
Thank you.
Than someone going, uh-oh, I don't want her to think I'm staring.
Right.
But well, you are just a warrior princess, rock star, everything all about it,
Thank
Kelly.
you.
And, I'm just praying that somebody listening today, and I'm pretty sure my prayers have already been answered, will get some peace or some encouragement or some idea either for themselves or the myriad people they will encounter who are going through breast cancer. But I can't thank you enough for just giving me a little shot of courage when I went in scared for the results. I mean, you're just amazing.
Well, we're so thankful it turned out okay for you.
Yes, absolutely. But thank you for just being a rock.
Well, thanks for having me.
Love it. Thank you. Thanks for joining us today, and thanks to our sponsors too, Wow Window Boxes, High Street, and Jenny Simon Face. Please subscribe to Amy's Table and share this conversation with a friend. Follow along for more inspiration, gatherings, and everyday ideas from our community. Until next time, keep looking for the good, keep making room for connection, and remember, there's always a seat for you at Amy's Table.